Hello, everybody. Welcome along. We are reacting to yet another managerial departure in the Championship. Rob Edwards out of Luton Town. Just announced. We've had a ton of these over the last month. I haven't been able to react because of Christmas and scheduling and everything, but I'm in the right place, in the right time to react to this one. Sam Parkin and myself did a Championship check-in special on managerial madness in the second tier. And Sam was at QPR Luton on Monday night where Luton lost away again and said, surely that is going to be it for Rob Edwards. And he is right. Rob Edwards, the man that took Luton to the Premier League, is out of Luton. It's been an absolute whistle-stop tour of the Championship and of Luton for Rob Edwards. Because if you remember, he made the jump from Forest Green, got them promoted from League 2 to League 1. Took the Watford job. I think people forget, it all gets lost in the shuffle. He was at Watford for a cup of tea. He got sacked there. Then Nathan Jones left Luton to go and do the Southampton job. And Rob Edwards went in to Luton. Little bit of tweakery, but in the main, with what Nathan Jones had built, they did have a good January, didn't they? With Nakamba and Drama added in. I'm probably missing somebody else, but it felt like he just steadied it, played the ball back with the spin that was already on it, if you knew what I mean. Worked with what he'd got, and the door opened that season, didn't it? We had Coventry and Luton in the playoff final, and Luton got themselves into the Premier League under the stewardship of Rob Edwards. It was a bust, wasn't it, in the Premier League last season? Luton were the best of the three promoted clubs, but that's a bit like being the nicest guy in jail. I think it was like 26 points or something like that. Look, there's a big conversation to be had about the ridiculously difficult standard for teams that get promoted up into the Premier League from the Championship. Hey, look, maybe we'll get to that, but let's talk about Luton and Rob Edwards. What we do know is that you can't complain about the chasm one way and not the other, because we know that when teams come down from the Premier League, we frankly expect them to be right up at the top of the table, challenging with the parachute payments the next season. And go figure, guys. Look at the table. Leeds, they were relegated. They've been in the Championship 2 seasons. Burnley and Sheffield United are in their first season back in the Championship. That is your current top 3 up at the top of the table. And somewhere, if I scroll way, way down on my iPad, in 20th place, I find Luton Town. So look, I'll say 2 things there. This is a miserable failure this season by Luton. They are 2 points above the relegation zone. We've only got 20 games to go, so it's not like you're kind of looking to make a change to resuscitate your season. You're almost looking to make a change to just survive and then build on next season. When it comes to Luton and comparisons with the likes of Burnley and Sheffield United, it should be said that Luton's rise was extraordinary, wasn't it? They'd come up from National League, basically League 2, League 1, Championship, and then into the Premier League, all the way up in the space of, I don't know how many years. They do it in 10 years. I can't remember the exact dates. Anyway, sooner and quicker than anybody will probably ever do it. So, well, look out for Wrexham is all I'll say. But Luton are doing this or have done this in a slightly different way than Wrexham, if they manage to do it, will have done it. That is besides the point. What you get with the Premier League now is even 1 or 2 seasons up there puts you on a different footing to everybody else. And when Luton went up, their priority was to not go crazy and spend tens and tens of millions on players, which I say go crazy. It's kind of the only way you can compete, given any clubs that have been up there a little while. And what didn't necessarily work for Luton as well is that the previous season, who was it? Bournemouth, Forest, and who were the other ones that went up that season? I can't remember. God, who was it? Bournemouth, Forest and Fulham. Excuse me. They all stayed up, which was kind of a bit of an outlier, wasn't it? That they all stayed up. The next season, the 3 promoted teams all went down, and that's kind of widened the gap artificially a little bit, like it needed widening anyway. Anyway, Luton are more concerned with building themselves a new stadium and stabilising their club than spending all of their 100 million quid TV money on a load of players. And was the most expensive one Taif Chong, like 5 million quid or something. So it's very different. What I'm saying is they're not coming down in the same position as where like Leeds last year had assets like Sinistera who got sold and Adams raised a ton of money, didn't they? It was the same for all of the Southampton. They sold Ward-Prowse and Livramento, and Leicester sold Barnes and Mattheson. There's probably tons of other examples, but so Luton have come down this season. They've not really sold anybody, but there was no 30-40 million pound player to sell. Also, they did bring in Mark McGuinness, so they were able to flex the parachute muscles. I think it was about £10 million centre back. And let's be honest, unless you've been in the Premier League, you cannot do a deal like that, can you? But I, along with a lot of other people in my pre-season predictions, had Luton right up towards the top of the table, and it's just not been good enough, has it? And strangely for Luton, they're actually pretty decent at home. They rank 13th, so they're middling at home. They've got 21 points at home, but they are abject away from home. 4 points in 13 games, 11 defeats in 13 games on the road for Luton. So when we come to the question of what's gone wrong, I have no earthly idea. I mean, obviously Luton always traditionally skews well at home because it's, quote, a difficult place to go. That is a thing. And Luton, under Nathan Jones, they got at teams, didn't they? And I was at that playoff semi-final against Sunderland where they just beat up, didn't they? The two big forwards on Morris and Adebayo, and played on that, and it worked beautifully well, didn't it? And they always managed to leverage that. Whether that intensity from the team has gone now they've got to the Premier League, I don't know. Everyone always argues it's the journey, not the destination. And they kind of reached the ultimate destination before anyone ever thought they would. Maybe there needs to be some kind of psychological reset around the intensity of the club. I don't know. Luton has never seemed to have a problem like that for me. What else has gone wrong? I don't know. Is there just a little natural sense of inertia for Luton that you just can't punch your way or above year after year after year after year? Do you know what I mean? I said this. You have to have one bad season in a while, and it feels like Luton haven't had a bad season since I know they lost in the playoffs in the National League a couple of times, and that first season in the Championship, the COVID season, they were down towards the bottom. But if you look at the trend on a graph, they've gone up for years. So maybe there's a bit of a sense of natural inertia and expectations. I guess the question is going to be asked about Rob Edwards. There's similar things being said about Arne Slot at Liverpool now of, well, what a genius. He's come in and done very little, and it kind of looks like the easiest job in the world. And that's what Rob Edwards did with Nathan Jones' work. So there are people who are going to say that that is a skill in itself, to take what you've got and, mould it your way, give your message and keep it winning. That's a skill. There are people who will say, well, the proof was in the pudding. And yes, he set up something brilliant at Forest Green, but he didn't have the time at Watford, and we don't know. Can Rob Edwards build a team at Championship level and compete? I think it's fair to say that we don't know, because Luton, as I say, had 10 years worth of momentum, of winning momentum and trending up when he arrived. And now that's gone. He just hasn't been able to turn it around, has he? So it's sad, because Luton have always been a big flag bearer, I think, for any EFL fan of any team, even if you're down in League One. And like Barnsley got close, didn't they? They got in the playoffs. And I don't know, I want to upset Luton fans, but a, quote, smaller club who can just do their thing, trade well, be smart, make 10 smart decisions for every bad decision they make, and they ended up in the Premier League. I always thought Luton were a bit of a shining beacon of an example, and it's kind of sad, but it just proves that no team can just trend up forever. I just looked at the odds. Nathan Jones is top of the list. There's Russ Martin in there, all the recent managers, so I'm sure we'll get some people linked. But let me know in the comments. I find it a bit sad that it's happened, but it is what it is. What are your feelings on Rob Edwards out of Luton, the latest in the managerial merry-go-round, and who do you think should go in next? And check out mine and Sam's video. We'll link it up here, looking at a month of managerial madness, and we kind of thought this was coming. We'll add this on right now.